There are many people asking why. There are many people paying attention. There are many now who see the big lie.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It is Wednesday, hump day, don't you crump day, don't be a chump day. It's the 9th of July, 2025. And yes, the mainstream media is just scrambling right now. They don't know what to do. You know what?
You won't be trusted anymore.
All right, welcome to the Wednesday edition of the WTF Reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist, and as always, I request that you visit our website, the WTFReports.com, because we are brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. Also, Get More Tank. I'll get to that one a little bit later. But yeah, I've been enjoying my Wave Watch, and you can too. You'll be getting $150 off if you use the promo code REDPILL100. Check it out, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time because there's so much to get to today. Plus, I have a guest joining me at the bottom of the hour. Anyway, okay, we're going to have a little fun here. The world is blowing up right now over this whole Epstein issue. Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. This is the number one huge, gargantuan, colossal, mammoth issue that everybody's talking about right now. Why? Because it seems that Dan Bongino flipped, and Kash Patel flipped, and Pam Bondi flipped, and Trump flipped. It's like, wait a second, what's going on? And there's so many people posting out there. They're furious. How could you turn your back on releasing all this information? How could you possibly have that, that clip? Let me see if I've got it here. I played this yesterday. It should be right here. Let's see, Trump, Bongino, Epstein. Yeah, Trump, Bondi, Epstein. Here, this is the clip from yesterday. Listen to this.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to stop it there. Then Pam Bondi gets on there. But this is the clip that's going on all over the world right now. And a lot of MAGA people, a lot of Trump supporters are very, very, very upset with him. And with, Kash Patel and Bongino and Bondi and the whole crew. Okay, well, let's think outside the box here. Let's connect some dots. Let's be a little historical, because unfortunately most of America has the attention span of a potato. So let's go back, like 10 years 10 years-ish. Remember the NXIUM scandal? Yeah, all the sex trafficking going on with NXIUM. And remember Harvey Weinstein and that whole thing? Yeah. Now think of the people who were involved in this. Okay, keep in mind what kind of people they are. Are they, right-wing conservative Christians, or are they left-wing liberal Democrats? Keep in mind what kind of people are involved with all of this. Keep that in the back of your head. Okay, we got NXIUM, we got Harvey Weinstein. Okay, again, we're going to connect the dots. Okay, remember, Hillary got defeated in 2016, and all of this stuff started to coming out about the Anthony Weiner laptop. Remember him, Anthony Weiner? Yeah. And remember Sidney Powell? She was out there talking about what happened when the police looked into the Weiner laptop and found some of this stuff about, shall we say, spirit cooking, Frazzledrip. Remember Frazzledrip? Okay. Remember Comet Pizza? And by the way, the reporter who debunked the whole conspiracy theory about the Frazzledrip and the Comet Pizza and Pizzagate, that whole thing, he debunked that in the Washington Post. And what do you know? He's been busted for child pornography. Okay. Again, what kind of people lean into this direction. Keep this in mind. We're gonna connect the puzzle. Wait till you hear this is crazy. All you folks upset about Bondi and Bongino and Patel and Trump, just keep listening. Keep listening. Okay. So we got Sidney Powell. We got Comet Pizza. We got Pizzagate. We have Hillary and Obama in that Frazzledrip video that Sidney Powell was talking about, with all these police officers threw up when they saw it. Okay. And then there's the Hunter Biden laptop. Okay? So all this information, again, which kind of people gravitate towards this? Are they right-wing conservative Christians, or are they left-wing liberal deep staters? I don't know, okay? You come to your own conclusion. Connect the dots, all right? Then comes the Epstein issue. Now, Epstein was unalived, whether it be suicide or murder or whatever. That was in 2019, okay? That was under the Trump administration. All right. So 2020 comes along. Trump is defeated, quote unquote, defeated, loses the election to Joe Biden. Okay. And the borders all get open and all this other crap hits the fan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the whole Epstein thing is sort of like just dying away. You know, it's just they're not talking about this anymore because we got Democrats in power. Okay, we got all these liberals, and now we got Pride Month, and we got, all this junk going on the front lawn of the White House and stuff like that. Again, keep in mind what kind of people would gravitate towards this. All right, so here comes Trump, and he comes and he flips on this. Now we all know that the left. The liberals out there have been screaming, orange man bad, orange man bad. If it rains today, it's Trump's fault. So they want any reason at all, anything to get Trump, anything. So what does Trump do? He flips. He says, don't even worry about this anymore. Case closed. And the entire world is inflamed right now. Because this sex trafficking thing and this, this human trafficking and sexual abuse and all this stuff is disgusting to everybody. And that's why this thing is all over the world right now. But check this out, okay? So what happens? He flips, Cash flips, Bongino flips, Bondi. And now everybody is screaming, release the files, release the files. Maybe that was the plan. Maybe, just maybe, this whole thing is being orchestrated to do exactly what's happening. As a matter of fact, Jake Tapper on CNN, who was it that posted this? I think it was Laura Loomer. I forget who it was. Doesn't make any difference. But Jake Tapper was on CNN. Listen to what happened here. Here he is.
So what's really going on here? What's really going on? Well, experts, such as our friend Julie Brown from the Miami Herald, who's been covering Epstein for years, say that the notion of Epstein having an easy-to-access client list is likely a red herring. And that's what the Trump administration is relying on, that there likely isn't a list per se. But they are also now relying on the fact that because it's MAGA influencers who often put forward so many falsehoods, legacy news media won't push the point, that while there might not be a list, there are certainly files that can be released. There's a trove of information that the Trump administration is right now refusing to share. Information that could well point to the powerful folks who availed themselves of the sex trafficking victims of Jeffrey Epstein. If you go, for example, to the FBI vault online, you can see that there are 22 files containing thousands of pages. Most of them are heavily redacted. Now, sure, of course, redact the names and identifying characteristics of the victims. But why not make the victim and witness testimonies public? As Julie Brown points out, there's still so much we don't know from the investigations by U.S. attorneys in Miami and in New York, witness interviews in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New Mexico. Brown writes that there's still more evidence that hasn't been published, including, quote, Epstein kept video cameras in most of his residences, and Epstein's autopsy, nor the report of the investigation into his death, has ever been made public. So while there may not be an official client list to be released, as the administration is now saying, there's a lot of extra information that is not being made public, despite Trump's Justice Department basically now saying case closed. This isn't going to go away. The public, you're being played for fools here.
Yeah, so now Jake Tapper and all the liberals and all the left is now screaming, release the files. You're being played for fools. Well, maybe this is the whole point, is to get all the left inflamed to demand that that these files be released. Maybe this is reverse psychology on a grand level. And I gotta stop and think about this. It makes more sense than anything else. So, as a matter of fact, there's a guy that posted. Let me see. I'm trying to see what his name is here. Let me see. Shelley. Okay, well, I'll get to it in a second. But this guy put some of the puzzle pieces together. Listen to this.
If you've ever wondered why all the most powerful people in the world seem to bow at the same altars, there's a reason. It's not democracy, it's not patriotism, it's leverage. The real world is not run by voters, it's run by compromise. By secrets, by blackmail, and those with the deepest files hold the real power. Enter Jeffrey Epstein. Not just a creepy billionaire with a thing for underage girls and private airplanes. He was a cutout. A handler, a honeypot, working for both the CIA and Mossad. Epstein's island was not a playground, it was a trap. The most powerful people in Hollywood, business, and politics were flown out to his island, wined, dined, and filmed. Every sin, every weakness, every moment was recorded. And that footage, it wasn't for Netflix, it was sold and traded for blackmail to Israel. Whitney Webb's masterpiece, One Nation Under Blackmail, a 2-volume series, lays this out meticulously in specific detail. And not theories, documents, histories, names. If you want to know what's really going on in the world, I suggest you read it. And that's why you see unshakable obedience to certain agendas. Why politicians on both sides of the aisle suddenly fall silent. Why Hollywood elites preach freedom but worship control. And why there's a particular group of people you cannot question or criticize. Because the strings are being pulled by people who were never elected.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. He just said a group of people. Okay, I'll leave it to you to figure out which group of people he's talking about.
And the ones in front of the camera? They're just actors terrified of the footage, of the fallout, and of the truth actually getting out. So when you wonder why your leaders are selling you out, while they're voting for foreign wars, while your streets fall apart, it's not incompetence. It's not bad policy. It's blackmail. And until that den of snakes is exposed, and until men of courage actually rise up and speak up and say things that can't be unsaid, this world's going to continue to stay upside down. They do not fear God. They fear exposure. And maybe it's time we gave them both. Yeah. President Trump, for the love of God, please release the complete Epstein files, because only the truth will cure this infection.
That's right.
Bribery, coercion, blackmail.
Yeah, how long have you been hearing those 3 words from yours truly? Huh? Oh my gosh. This could be a brilliant move by Trump and the White Hats. Okay, and by the way, you just heard that last clip there referring to Whitney Webb. Her book, her 2-volume set, One Nation Under Blackmail, is absolutely must-reading if this is an issue that is near and dear to your heart. And I have to tell you, I'm only about a quarter of the way into this book. It's very heavy. But I must tell you, each chapter, like for instance, at the end of chapter 1, there are, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of footnotes just in one chapter of 36 pages. I mean, everything is extremely documented, referenced, cross-checked. Whitney Webb is a national treasure as far as I'm concerned. Her level of deep research is unparalleled. There are a couple of other really good ones out there too, but I'll tell you, if this is an issue that really flips your switch, this is something you definitely want to do. One Nation Under Blackmail, 2 different volumes. So you want to get read up on that. You want to do that. Anyway, I wanted to again refer to this issue about connecting all these dots and which group of people is more likely to gravitate towards this proclivity, this activity, okay? And I think we all know the answer. So what's happened now is that all the liberals out there are screaming to get this information released. Now, let me see. I have another clip here. There we go. Let's try this again. Here we go.
If you've ever wondered why all the most powerful people in the world seem to bow at the same...
Okay, that's the clip I just played. Sorry about that. Okay, Anyway, so I wanted to lay this out here so we can connect the dots. Now, in review, we go back about 10 or 15 years. We got the NXIUM scandal. We've got Harvey Weinstein. We've got the Anthony Weiner laptop. We have Frazzledrip, which was referred to by Sidney Powell and the police who saw that video. There's Comet Pizza and Pizzagate. There's Hillary and Obama. And then there's the Hunter Biden laptop. All of this stuff is damning towards a particular group of people, all right? And then there's, of course, the Epstein flight logs. Now, people are saying, oh, yeah, well, Trump was on the plane. Yeah, well, he was on Epstein's plane, but if you look at the flight log, he didn't go to Epstein Island. It was like going from New York to, or was it Philadelphia to Mar-a-Lago to Florida? Because his plane was in for service, okay? So these people who want to say, okay, well, Trump was in bed with Epstein, well, yeah, maybe during the 80s and 90s, like I said, he was being groomed. He was being, treated as an insider, and he was. But when there was a line that got crossed at Mar-a-Lago, which involved somebody had approached a young girl, and when Trump found out about what was going on, he threw them all out. He said, get the hell out of here. He threw out the Clintons. He threw out the Bushes. He threw out all these hobnobs. And the good guys, the white hats, saw this. Say, wait a second. Now, he may be a misogynist and a sexist, and maybe he grabbed a few things. But the point is, though, is he would not cross a particular line. And I do believe, and I believe with every fiber of my being that there are good guys. There are white hats. And I've told you in the past how I was in a white hats meeting back in '96, and I didn't even realize it at the time. It wasn't until the Q posts started coming out and they started talking about the white hats, and the bulb went off over my head, and I said, "Wait a second, those are the guys I was in the meeting with back in '96." So I know that the white hats exist. I know that they've been working for decades to undo what was done to this country over the decades that preceded. And when JFK was taken out, that was sort of like the final nail in the coffin, and the black hats pretty much took over. Now, I can't prove a lot of this, but I can only connect my own dots and come to my own conclusions, and hopefully you will too. But I'm looking at this entire Epstein thing, and I can't help but think that what has just been done has, like I said, inflamed not just the United States, because everybody, I don't care if you're liberal or Democrat, everybody's screaming about the Epstein files. We want these Epstein files out. And people all over the world are saying the same thing. So now the focus is back onto Epstein, back onto the clients list. The clients list, okay, is if Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for sex trafficking children, to whom? That's the key. We have to find out who the customers were, who was paying for this, who was off to Epstein Island so they could live out their sexual fantasy, however sick it was. And there's plenty of sickos out there, believe me. And again, I ask you, use your own common sense. You tell me if these people that were involved in this were conservative right-wing Christian types, or were they liberal left Democrat types. You figure that out. And that's why they didn't want it talked about all during the Biden administration. No, let that issue die away, because most Americans have the attention span of a potato, and they're relying on that. So now all of a sudden this entire issue is thrown onto the front burner, not just here in the country, but all over the world. And you know what? Maybe that was the plan. That's why I just played to you the CNN clip with Jake Tapper. They took the bait. They took the bait. So maybe this is a reason to smile and say, wait a second, this is 5D chess playing itself out. And one thing is going to lead to another, because we all know that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, okay, Ghislaine Maxwell's father was Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell's attorney was Joe Pissar, and he's since passed away. But the point is that Joe Pissar was Anthony Blinken's stepfather. I mean, it's all connected. Connect the dots, folks. Greg Reese did a marvelous post, and I would play the entire 5-minute clip, but I don't have time right now. But you want to check out the Reese Report, because he just posted a very good analysis of connecting the dots. So I just wanted to throw that out there and let you folks know, if you're really ticked off about this fact that you feel that you're being betrayed by Patel and Bondi and Bongino, maybe they're going to be exposed as well. Maybe they're being put into a position where they're going to have to fall on their own sword. I don't know, but this is, we're dealing with a cabal that's been in control for not just decades, but centuries. We're talking about an evil that goes back, an evil of biblical proportions, and I mean that in the literal sense. Now, I'm kind of excited about this. I'm a bit out of breath because when this dawned on me last night after going through the social media posts and seeing that some of these people are putting these dots together, I said, wait a second, this makes more sense. This makes perfect sense. Because now everybody is screaming to get this exposure, which we all want. And I don't care if you're right or left. This is a nonpartisan issue. Sex trafficking, satanic worshiping, child sacrifice, cannibalism, it's all real. And if you don't believe it, raise your hand. Now slap yourself with it. It's been going on for a long time. This is one of the reasons why I had to just eject myself from the entire Patriot movement, the 9/11 movement way back in 2009. My head exploded. My good friend Ted Gunderson, who I'd spent many, many, many hours with, talking about this exact issue, the proliferation of the satanic cults that was going on in the 70s and 80s that he was investigating as one of the heads of the FBI. Yes, that's right. Ted Gunderson was in charge of Houston, San Francisco, and Los Angeles in the FBI. He had 750 agents under him. And when he retired, he kept on his research, investigating the satanic cults that were popping up all over the country. And they haven't stopped. This is why we have such a child trafficking problem, because they need those children. They need them. They need them for their dark operations, for their adrenochrome. Yes. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you think so? Raise your hand. Slap yourself with it again. This stuff is real. And as long as we are in denial about it, it continues to proliferate. We have to face this beast and look it in the eye if we're going to defeat it. And that's where we're at right now. And if I'm right about this, and if some of these social media posters are right about this, this may be a 5D chess move by Donald Trump that is just amazing. So don't get so pissed off right now, okay? Just hold on tight. I've been saying it for a long time. We are witnessing an enormous, gargantuan train wreck in super slow-mo. It's not going to resolve itself in a couple of days or weeks or something. It's going to be going on over months, because the American people and the people of the world have to be shown with their own eyes before they'll accept it. You can't just, throw on the EBS and tell everybody what's been going on, because they'll reject it. It has to be done in a very strategic manner. And we may see that strategy being played out right now. So hold on tight, keep the faith, and above all, pray. Pray. Get on your knees and pray. If that's the way you're going to pray, whatever way you're going to do it, get back in touch with our Creator, with all that is good, that is light, that is love, because that's the only way we're going to defeat this monster. All right, I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, I have a guest joining us, and I have good reason to do so. Stay with us.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get more tank by visiting our website, the WTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page. It'll take you down to a window where you can click on it and find out all about Get More Tank. All the technical data is there. You'll understand how and why it works. It's not an additive. It's a catalyst. And there's a big difference. And once you start using Get More Tank, your engine will clean itself out. It will run more efficiently. It'll run cleaner. And after a couple of tanks, you'll start to see an improvement in your mileage. And over a period of time, one tablet per tank, you get 5 tablets per envelope, and they're $20. And you'll find that if you're getting 20% better mileage, that means your 5th tank is free. So you spend $20 and you save a tank of gas, and that's in one purchase. It's a no-brainer, folks. It's a win-win-win. If you haven't tried it yet, go ahead. It's only going to cost you $20 to give it a shot. So Get More Tank. Simple as that. All right, it's now 31 minutes past the hour. I have a guest joining me, but before I bring him on, I want to point out that over the past several years with these open borders, we have seen millions and millions and millions and millions. Now, the estimates are anywhere between 20 and 30 million people. There are immigrants that have come across. And we know that the Red Cross and the HAIS and the NGOs have been funding these people to come into this country. They've been giving them directions and help on how to make it through the Darien Gap, up through Mexico, and where the border is weakest so they can get into the country. And I have no doubt whatsoever that many of these military-age males without a family from all countries that are hostile to the United States, from China, from Yemen, from Afghanistan, from Venezuela, you name it, they've all been allowed to come into this country. They've all been given directions and how to get to the city that they're assigned to. Yeah. Okay, that's conspiracy theory. Again, raise your hand, slap yourself with it. These people have been given safe haven. They have shelter, food, clothing. They've been, supplied. They're briefed, and I'm sure they're being given their missions. Now, what this means is that, yes, we may see an increase in domestic terrorism on a level that we cannot even imagine. And I want to share with you very quickly a clip before I bring my guest on. This is Laura Logan speaking with Doc Chambers. In regard to a lot of these immigrants, and not just people coming across the border, but equipment. Listen to this.
If you've ever wondered why all the most powerful people in the world seem to bow at the same altars, there's a reason. It's not democracy, it's not patriotism, it's leverage. The real world is...
Oh, wait, that's not the clip. The wrong one queued up. Here it is. Sorry about that. Here it is.
What else did you see coming over that border?
Okay, so we have to be careful with this one. Hardware. I know personally of military hardware. Yes.
Drones
for sure. Yeah, I've watched them come across. I've physically seen the drones.
Explosives for sure. Absolutely.
Surface to air missiles. Yes. Not in Texas, but the information came to us about another state where they came across as a port of entry.
Okay, and so what you have really is a collaboration between the Mexican cartels, the Venezuelan cartels, all of whom are now designated as foreign terrorist organizations, working with the Iranian Revolutionary Guards units.
They're docked in Venezuelan passports, yes.
And the CCP, Chinese, facilitating?
100%. It's harder for them to hide when they come across, but they do. They pay differently and come different ways.
So it's like an American enemies convention. Aided and abetted by our domestic enemies.
Aided and abetted by that, and then aided and abetted by certain individuals on this side of the border that are American citizens that are in positions of power.
Mm-hmm. And this is what we're facing. This is what I've been talking about for some time. Now, this is all the more reason why the Second Amendment has jumped to the front burner as far as importance is concerned, and that's why I'm bringing on my guest from the National Firearms Coalition. And Kit Carson, welcome to the WTF Reports. Thank you for joining me. How are you today, sir?
Okay, can you hear me okay, sir?
Yes, you sound just fine, just fine. Now, I don't know if you've heard about that. Have you heard about hardware coming across the border? You just heard ammunition, drones, surface-to-air missiles. I mean, what does this mean to you and our Second Amendment?
Well, it's pretty shocking information. I was not aware of that. I suspected it, but now apparently it's a fact. And the Second Amendment to our Constitution, everybody knows about, but we are the only organization in the country that is enforcing the Second Amendment. Yeah, we support it. Everybody supports it and pokes their fingers in the air and crosses their heart. That's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
We enforce it, and that's. I don't want to get into that unless you want to ask me some specific questions. But our newspaper is a monthly tabloid, 24 pages. We've been in business for 30 years, formerly American Free Press. Now we have morphed into the National Firearms Coalition of the Republic Incorporated.
Well, you mentioned the American Free Press. I mean, that takes me back in my memory hole because I've known Pat Shannon since the mid-'90s, and I understand that he's working with you in putting this effort together.
Yeah, he's the editor of our paper. I've known Pat Shannon for at least 20 years.
Yeah.
And American Free Press is still in business. I don't mean to discourage them at all. They're a good paper. They're still in business. But we're a spin-off. We are totally different market. Our market is wholesale to the gun stores all over the country and the shooting ranges and the gun shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's 90 cents wholesale to those people, $3 retail, and we don't solicit subscriptions by individuals with guns because the postage rates are so enormous.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to pay $80 a year for a newspaper once a month. That's mostly the postage rates.
Yeah, right.
So we go directly to gun stores, or we deliver 20, 50, 100 copies per gun store.
Okay, well, the whole point is, like you were saying, this is a matter of not just making people aware, but helping them to enforce their right to keep and bear arms. And I don't know if you heard this. There was an NBC report with Pete Williams. I'm not quite sure when this came out. It came across my desk about 2 weeks ago. But I found that this was extremely important. You might be pleased to hear this. Again, this is an NBC report with Pete Williams. Listen up.
Well, it was 14 years ago that the Supreme Court said that the Second Amendment does provide an individual right to have a gun, but they said it was at home for self-defense. And ever since then, the court has declined to answer the question, well, what about the part of the Second Amendment that says keep and bear arms? What about guns in public? And today, the Supreme Court has answered that question by a vote of 6-3 in an opinion written by Justice Clarence Thomas, saying that the Second Amendment does provide a right to have a gun outside the home.
Bingo.
Now, the law in question in New York said there's no right to carry a gun openly in New York, but to get a concealed carry permit, a person had to go to the county sheriff and show some special need, something beyond just a general desire for self-defense. And today the Supreme Court said that's unconstitutional. That puts a limit on the right to have a gun. So the Supreme Court says, number one, states cannot put these special restrictions on getting a gun for a concealed carry permit. Now, this decision obviously will have an immediate effect in New York, and it'll also affect the 7 other states that have similar laws: California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, and New Jersey.
Wow. Now, that is a mind blower. Have you heard that report, Kit?
No, I couldn't hear it very well.
Oh, you couldn't? Okay. Well, they were just saying that Clarence Thomas has ruled that any restriction on the issue about the Second Amendment to keep and bear arms is unconstitutional, and it basically reverses some of the decisions made in those states. So now you are allowed to keep and bear arms. That means you can have a sidearm on you. I mean, that's the way I understand it. I mean, this sounds to me to be a major victory for the Second Amendment folks out there. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with that. The way we enforce the Second Amendment from our company, National Firearms Coalition of the Republic, matter of fact, I ought to give you our website so people can really find out who we are. It's www.second, instead of the word second, it's 2ND, www.2ND- ACP, AmericanCandyPatriot.com.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And when they pull up the National Firearms Code, they'll see everything we're talking about. But the way we enforce it is there's all of us have a theoretical virtual 6-shooter Colt revolver with no bullets in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we load up that virtual Colt revolver with the silver bullets that can take our enemies out of office. And most people don't know what I'm going to tell you. All congressmen, all senators, everybody in the federal government and the states, for that matter, take an oath of office to support and protect the Constitution of the United States. Anyway, that oath is real serious. Just like when you get married and you take an oath to your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
If you cheat on her, you're going to eventually get in big trouble.
Yeah.
Same thing with the oath. And all these congressmen violate their oath every single week. So the silver bullets we have in our silver theoretical revolver are enforcing the law and filing criminal complaints with the FBI against the congressmen and senators and other deep state individuals that are violating their oath. And when you really understand the law, which I'm not going to get into like I do and our 4 attorneys on our board,
Mm-hmm.
We tell the congressman the same thing that Clint Eastwood always said. Hell is coming to breakfast, sir. Resign or suffer the consequences. Because the consequences are eviction from office, $10,000 fine, and jail time. It's not maybe. This is what your consequences are, Mr. Congressman, when you violate your oath of office.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing. We have filed our first criminal complaint. I'm not going to tell you who it's with. But when we the people find out the power that we really have from 1789 forward, when the Constitution was implemented, they don't have to go to attorneys. They don't have to go to the courts. They file their criminal complaints, and when they investigate and become members of the National Firearms Coalition, we teach them how to do that. It's real simple, and it's real scary, and it's real powerful.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the people who turn their back on their oath to the Constitution, I mean, there's malfeasance, there's dereliction of duty, and there's treason. And those are 3 reasons why someone can lose their seat in government and can face charges. You know, like I said, dereliction of duty, malfeasance, or treason. All 3 of those are very, very serious. But anyway,
right. But who's going to bring charges? Who's going to bring charges? This is the question I've had for 40 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
I don't have an answer. I can't say nobody. I can't say somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't found an answer. So we created the answer ourselves. Me and all our tinfoil hat people, Tea Party wackos,
yeah, right,
and anti-IRS guys. We just follow the Constitution, do what that law says. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's really powerful. And that's why we put the website together in the newspaper, because people that want to do something with their crooked Democratic congressmen in Oklahoma or Maine or wherever they are, we'll show you how to file these complaints. And within 90 days, they're out of office.
Wow. And I want
much more to it than I try. It's a lot of fun, and we can absolutely terrorize the congressman. I'm specifically referring to the House of Representatives, because that's where all the money comes from, all the money originates from, and all the poison it comes from against us. And the people with the money, which are the congressmen, control our lives. And so if we can get rid of a few congressmen, we can get control of our affairs again, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I want to give out the website again. Again, the website is second-acp.com. Again, that's second, and I mean the number 2, ND, as in second, hyphen, Alpha Charlie Papa. That's ACP. Second-acp.com. And the website is under construction there, but there is some basic information there. Let me ask you, if somebody wants to subscribe to the newspaper, how do they do that?
When they go on the site, they simply go to membership, and there's a application there and a phone number. And matter of fact, I'll give you the phone number right now, which they can call.
Okay.
It's a 202 phone number in our Washington D.C. office. It's where is it? 202-359-8022.
Okay, 202-359
8022.
If
that's not correct, they can go on the website and pull it up themselves.
Okay, let me see. I got the newspaper here right in front of me here, and I'm going to see if the phone number is available.
It should be in there.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll get to that in a couple of minutes. I also have your business card over here someplace, but let me grab that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Very good.
Oh, no worries. Well, the issue here, again, I've been talking about this for the past week. You know, this issue about the illegal aliens coming across, people don't realize how serious this is. I mean, the past 4 years with the border being wide open, and these millions of people coming across, this is not going to be solved in a matter of a few months or even a year. It's going to take, probably 5 to 10 years to get this cleared up if we're able to do so before the proverbial fecal matter hits the air circulator. So, and that's a main concern right now because, these terror cells are all over the country. And I can't help but think that they're just waiting for the moment they're, given the green light and they're going to start doing stuff. And as you just heard Laura Loomer talking about, it's not just immigrants coming across the border. It's hardware. It's drones. It's surface-to-air missiles. It's bombs. And who knows, maybe there's some dirty nukes that have come across. I don't know. But we have to be in a position to be able to protect ourselves, our community, and our families. And this is why, the Second Amendment, again, is, jumped to the front burner here for a lot of people, not just me. But I remember I was talking to you the other day, telling you about, it was about a year or two ago, there were some folks on the corner with Trump 24 flags and American flags, and a couple of them, one of them had a sidearm, and the other had an AR-15 slung around his shoulder. Well, some woman...
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, some woman freaked out. She says, "Oh my God, there's Trump-tards with guns." And she called the police. "There's a man here with a gun. There's a man here. You got to come here." And so the police show up and they get out and they say, "What's the problem here?" And she says, look, they got guns. They got guns. And the police officer looks at her and goes, "Yeah? Yeah, but look, he's got a pistol on his side, and this guy's got a rifle." "Yeah? Well, they've got guns." "Yeah, well, this is Montana. People are allowed to carry." And he just basically shut her down, So, and I was glad to see that. And I got to tell you, Kit, as a younger man, I was right on board with getting rid of all the guns. When John Lennon was assassinated, I was on board. We don't need these guns anymore. Get rid of them. There's no reason for us to have them. But then I saw a bumper sticker. It was a quote from Thomas Jefferson. It said, "Those who beat their guns into plows will plow for those who didn't." It made me think.
That's what he said. That's for sure. It's a famous statement.
Yes, it is. And that's why I was thrilled to see that there's now a renewed interest in the Second Amendment, because for love of God, we're going to need it. It was put into our Constitution for a reason, and we're looking at the reason right now.
That's correct. I agree 100%.
So again, this is why I wanted to raise awareness to this particular topic and bring you on to help promote your the publication. Again, this is the National Firearms Coalition, and again, let me see if I can find that phone number again. 202-359-8022, or visit the website 2nd-acp.com. Okay, Kit, again, I want to ask you now, what is your hope for your distribution now? You said that you've got this, it's going out to all of the gun stores, Second Amendment, what am I talking about? The gun rally, not the gun rallies, well, yeah, gun rallies, but the gun shows, there you go. Gun shows happening all over the country, yeah. So, what other forms of distribution are you hoping to get?
Hold one second. Let me grab that list and I'll read it to you.
He caught me just as I was taking a drink of water. I was going to... Oh, there it goes. But anyway, folks, this is...
Here we go.
Interesting times.
We have chapters in 16 states now. 16. They're all old-timers like us. We've been through the Cold Wars, etc. And the coalition is of... attorneys, accountants, gun owners, gun distributors, etc. But the coalition is a group of the following type of people: millions of gun owners, of course, 6,000 plus gun stores, 500 shooting ranges, 1,000 sheriffs, American Free Press. The Oath Keepers are with us. Several manufacturers are: Weatherby Rifles, Bond Derringers out of Texas, Winchester Arms. Also, the Voice of America is starting to pick up on us. Judicial Watch, if you know who they are, they're throwing their hat in the ring. And Girls with a Gun organization.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them.
They're coming on board. So it's a coalition of many groups that all have the same concern. Congress is out of control. We've got to convict them, put them in prison, and get them out of office. We can, when the criminal complaint begins, in writing, given to the FBI, which we've already started the first one, with 90 days, that congressman will be out of office, because once the complaint is given to the FBI, our people pony up $125, and the U.S. Marshals appear in uniform with guns and mace and handcuffs in the congressman's office in Washington, D.C., and bam, he gets served with the papers. You're being indicted criminally for prosecution. What's he going to do with that? Well, he's not only going to wet his pants, he's probably going to, within 2 weeks, he's going to resign his office.
Yeah, I guess they'd have to.
If not, he will be prosecuted and go to jail. That's that's what's going to happen. It's not maybe. No prohibition, no temporary on parole or anything. You go to prison, period. That's what happens to you. And they realize that when the U.S. Marshals dumped that legal process on them. This has never been done before. This is perfectly legal and very powerful.
Well, more and more people are becoming aware. They're actually going back and studying the Constitution and understanding what constitutional law is. And when they do so, they start to realize how they've been betrayed. Perfect example, we just had our celebration, our 249th birthday in this country, and people actually sit down and read the Declaration of Independence because it's Independence Day, and they actually read it, and they realize all the grievances that we had against the King of England way back when are the same grievances we have against our own government right now. And that's why
Precisely.
Yeah, I mean,
Precisely.
It's history's repeating itself, and we had a revolution based on a 3% tax on a breakfast beverage. That's 3%. What a 3% tax on tea, and they had a Boston Tea Party. Well, now we got half of our labor is being taxed away, and people are going, "Oh dear, what can I do? I'm only one person. I can't fight City Hall. What am I gonna do?" They've been, effectively neutered. I'm sure you're aware of Sheriff Richard Mack, right?
Yeah, Richard Mack's on our team. I don't tell anybody that, but he's on our team.
Well, he should be.
I've known him for 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's
part of the coalition.
Yeah. Well, he inspired me back in '96, I believe it was, when he had his book From My Cold Dead Hands. And he inspired me to write a song. I just want to share a verse here. Let me see if this is going to work here.
Is that what's in your plan? You can take my gun from my cold dead hand. In every case through history, when genocide was planned,
the firearms were gathered up and the opposition banned. The tyrants made distractions and the people looked away. And by the time they realized they couldn't get away,
the smiling face on my TV says, we should all join hands and help create a vision of a new world order plan. We'll downsize our defenses, give our bases all away to a UN global peace force, and we'll do just what they say. Take your globalist agenda and your new world order plans, and you can take my gun from my cold dead hands.
Anyway, I just wanted to share a quick verse from that song. It's like I said, that was almost 30 years ago, and it's coming to fruition. So that's why I wanted to bring up Sheriff Richard Mack, because he inspired me to write that song, and that was somewhat of a revelation for me. So anyway, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I got to give you the correct phone number, because what we established up there was just 2 weeks ago, and I didn't have the number memorized yet. The correct phone number, which is on our website, is 202.
Yes.
595
3088. 3088. Okay.
595 3088. And, of course, the email is NFC for National Firearms Coalition, NFC-corporate@usa.com.
Okie dokie. All right. And again, you can visit the website. It is 2ND. That's the number 2. The letter N is in Nancy. D is in Delta. Okay, and then there's a hyphen, and then ACP. That's Alpha Charlie Papa.com. So altogether, it's 2ND hyphen Alpha Charlie Papa.com. All right.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so you, from what you're describing, you've got some pretty good distribution coming on. If you're going to be at the gun shows and the shooting ranges and all of the gun shops, et cetera, et cetera. What other? Go ahead.
Within 2 or 3 years, we'll be much bigger than the NRA.
Oh, I certainly hope so. I mean, I don't want to see the NRA go down.
No, I don't want to see them go down either, but no one is focused on the law like we are. What did the NRA do for all their members? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They supported the Second Amendment, and they sent letters to their congressmen. We don't do that. We take congressmen out of office by the law, file criminal complaints, which is a felony. Anytime a congressman speaks out of his mouth or publishes a paper and starts talking about democracy, he just committed a felony by his oath. And that's what the law says. We're applying the law. We're applying the criminal complaint on their felony, which I described earlier, and they're going down. There's no defense. Just like when you run through a stop sign and you're on a camera. Mm-hmm. There's no defense. You can't say, oh, I didn't do that. Hey, we got a photograph of you going through the stop sign. These congressmen have no defense when they violate their oath of office. That's what we learned many years ago, and now we're putting it into practice.
Well, we're seeing
the attorneys I have on my team are just exuberant about this.
Well, we
don't go to court.
We're seeing it across the board. We're seeing across the board that so many members of Congress and the Senate have violated their oaths, and I can't help but think of the Brunson case that Lloyd Brunson has brought forward, basically holding the congressman's feet to the fire for dereliction of duty for not investigating the anomalies in the 2020 election. They just went ahead and certified it, despite the fact that there were questions in their county or in their constituency, and they're obligated to investigate, and they didn't do so. So there's many different reasons why members of Congress should be shaking in their boots right now. So we'll just have
when they find out who we are, they will absolutely be shaking in their boots. And what people don't realize is the power they have. A local gun club with 6 or 8, 10, 12 guys. Mm-hmm. One person by himself can file these complaints. You have to know how to do it. You can't pick up a phone, call the sheriff. Yeah, he'll listen to you, but you're not going to do anything. Go to your district attorney. He's not going to do anything. Go to your state attorney general. Maybe he'll do something, but probably not. Everybody is scared of the feds, except organizations like us. And if we are not successful, which we will be, the only solution is the Second Amendment, and we're going to have to start using real bullets and real pistols and real rifles. We're not there yet. We hope we don't have to get there, but that's what the Second Amendment is for.
Exactly.
And we hope to use the literal figurative Colt revolvers with 6 silver bullets in it. They're all 6 parts of the law, which says to the congressmen or the senators like Chuck Schumer or Adam Schiff or Langsford out of Oklahoma that all violate their oath. Mm-hmm. You're going down. You've been charged with a criminal complaint, the FBI, and you're going down. Please defend yourself.
Well, I gotta say, I hope and pray we never come to that point where we actually have to use the Second Amendment. However, the simple fact that we have the Second Amendment is the point. We have to have the ability to defend ourselves, our community, our families, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely.
And that's the bottom line here. Not that we want to do that, but we have the right to do that, and we may end up with the duty to do that. Kit Carson, I want to thank you so much for joining me on the program today. Again, the phone number, if you want to find out more about the National Firearms Coalition, is 202-595-3088. Again, that's 202-595-3088. And the website is 2nd-acp.com. Kit Carson, thank you so much for joining me and helping raise awareness about the Second Amendment. And this coalition is going to be key, the way I see it. It's really it's a good thing to get involved with. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me today.
Okay, it's been my pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Talk to you again sometime soon.
All right.
Okay.
God bless. Take care.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for today, folks. It's wow. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing what's going on. It's like I've said so many times, it's like an enormous train wreck that we're witnessing in super slow motion. Don't think things are going to resolve themselves in a couple of weeks. It's going to take some time. But I have a feeling that, yes, there are 5D chess moves being made here. We're just going to have to sit back and watch the play. Wow, what a time to be alive, huh? All right, God bless you all. Thank you so much for your listenership. Again, I invite you to visit our website, The WTF Reports. Do business with our sponsors. Help us to keep this ball rolling. That said, we're going to be out of here. I'll be back again tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless you all. Stay safe. Stay free. and I'll see you tomorrow.